Hey, Hound Dogs, I'm David Hankins,
I'm Paul Hankins.
I'm Trevor Hankins.
And I'm Jen Moreno.
and welcome to On the Air with Power Squared. Since we're coming close to the end of 2023, we thought we'd take a look back at what we've done as far as Power Squared, the comic book goes, and Power Squared Comic, the channel on YouTube.
Yes.
So let's start off with
The rewind, if you will.
right. Yes, our rewind. So we're going to take a look at the issues that we put out. Now, Jen was not involved with these. You may have read them, Jen, but it's okay.
Yeah.
We did Mocha and Raven parts 1, 2, and 3. 16, 17, and 18 are the issues from March through September. Every 3 months we put out an issue. Does anybody remember these or read them or talk about them or have a favorite or?
I remember these.
Yeah, I wish I got a better cover on that one, but I mean, not the cover itself, but the print.
Yeah.
I like the idea of introducing, going back and picking up Billy O'Shea. We kind of introduced him quickly in the first issue, and so now we've come back and actually reintroduced him, which I kind of like the idea of doing that. And Mocha became Raven is sort of to him what Mocha is to Marty and Eli.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I like the issues, and I think some of the artwork's pretty good too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I made them available. Did you have a chance to ever read them? Okay.
I don't think the last one that was released, but yeah, up to the one before that was uploaded onto yeah.
Well, 18 was the last. 19 it was the last one that came out, and that came out in December.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Kamiatachi.
Yeah, Kamaitati.
Which you did most of the writing on. So do you want to talk about that?
Well, I would personally just say I wrote it, but
Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to have more action in the story.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot more action and a lot less dialogue.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
I got the yokai, and I tried to emphasize the yokai angle.
Right. Okay. So
Which I thought at that point was underutilized.
right. Well, we also had just another yokai in the previous, but yes.
At the time I wrote it, so I
Yes.
thought it was
Sure.
underutilized.
Yes. All right. Well, good. So those are the 4 issues that we put out. I think we're planning on trying to put out. We haven't discussed it, but I would imagine we're going to try to put out the next 4 issues next year.
Yeah.
And then come up with the 2 you guys worked on.
Mm-hmm.
Or wrote, and that Jen actually worked on those 2
Mm-hmm.
in 2025. So your work will come out. It's just going to be a while.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while.
Yeah. That just, gives me longer to talk about it. So I guess, does anybody have anything they want to say about the 4 issues that we put out? Besides, they're great and people should read them.
I like that we get to see all of the designs of the people that were after Mocha and why she's hiding, the reason why she's kind of just laying low,
Uh-huh.
and the conflict of Raven and um the guy getting all heated up when he meets Marty and Eli about the situation.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
You mean Dr. Atlas or?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
The main villain of the story. Yeah. Yeah. I think it was kind of a. I like Dr. Atlas is sort of in the background of a lot of this stuff, not everything, but always kind of in the background and messing around with their lives, and it was sort of another example. And he made sort of a deal with Raven and Billy. And which did not pan out. Never does for Dr. Atlas either. He always
Yeah.
gets messed up at the end. Okay. Well, in support of those issues and to talk about other things, we did about 60 videos this year. We had three. I'll say we had three guests on who were not related to the comic book. We had David Peterson, Patrick Ballesteros, and Stephen E. Gordon.
Yes.
Now, you guys arranged those three interviews, really.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
tell us kind of what made you decide to approach them, and were you surprised how receptive they were to being on the show?
It was Stephen E. Gordon. We'd actually seen him before, like years ago, as he was doing character design lecture, I guess.
Yeah.
As a one-off. But then we had started seeing him at conventions. And he was the character designer for X-Men Evolution, which is what we think of when we hear X-Men.
Okay.
So we decided to try to ask him if he would be on the show, and we were actually surprised. It's just like, okay.
The motivator was we had I think shortly before that we had been rewatching X-Men Evolution on Disney Plus.
Yeah, partly out of nostalgia, and also because we had shortly before then seen the 90s X-Men cartoon in full for the first time. So Troy and I decided to revisit X-Men Evolution, and we were reminded just how good that show is.
Okay. So that he had a long history of working in animation.
Yeah.
And was pretty, he worked with Ralph Bakshi.
Bakshi.
On Lord of the Rings. I think that was like his first gig.
Yeah.
As an animator, and he's, written and produced. I mean, he's produced and directed a lot of stuff since. Yeah. So.
He had a brief stint at Disney.
Right.
Yes.
So he was a really good guest, I thought.
Yeah.
So you guys also got Patrick Ballesteros.
Yes.
Yes.
Which you have a connection with. He's really big. If you don't know who he is, Jen, he's really big at Comic-Con.
Very.
He's if you go to Artist Alley, there's a long line just to see him. And
Really?
Buy his stuff.
And if you ever look at their Toucan blog or whatever, they talk about him constantly about him being there and all that stuff. So he's really a big draw at Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
And
pro tip: he is easier to talk to at a smaller convention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like WonderCon, you can actually talk to him, but
you can talk to him for 5 minutes.
at Comic-Con it's just like, you might catch his eye.
Yeah.
Walk by. I mean, he's very, very, very popular there.
Yeah.
So Trevor had a connection with him.
Yes. I'm forgetting exactly what it was off the top of my head, but I took a class with him at Concept Design Academy in Pasadena.
Okay.
And I thought he was a really good teacher.
Yeah, he would actually drive up, as I understand it, from San Diego on Sunday mornings to do that class and then drive back.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a long drive. Oh my
It
gosh.
is, yeah. And we saw him at a show he did at a comic book shop in Burbank, I believe.
Yeah.
He must have driven up for that as well. I mean, yeah. So he was really dedicated to doing that class.
Yes.
So when did you approached him? Where, at WonderCon or?
Yeah, it was. I forget exactly where, but I remember it was not. It was smaller. It was smaller than Comic-Con.
I don't remember if it was WonderCon or Lightbox.
Okay.
It might have been Lightbox.
Okay, and he agreed to be on the show.
Yes.
Yes.
I thought it was a pretty good interview.
Yeah.
Now, the biggest name I'll say that we've had as far as independent comic book creators is David Peterson, which is also somebody that Trevor got.
Yes.
And you talked to him at Comic-Con?
Yes.
Want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sorry, I'm thinking of the words.
Sorry.
Like, was like as big as Comic Con is, he is at like this one, he was at like this one end of the con that was like, I'll say less populated and like the center of the convention where all the big studios are.
Yeah, there's a corner where there's some less lighter foot traffic.
Right.
Even
Yes.
though you have big names like David Peterson and Stan Sakai over
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Yes. So because of that, he was surprisingly easy to approach about it, and he it was kind of like Stephen E. Gordon, where he was found it surprising how quickly he just said okay.
Yeah.
Now he was. I wasn't prepared for. He was willing to talk for hours. We had to kind of cut it off around 2 hours because he was he said you need how long is your show, and we were saying well it can go as long as you want. So he really would just talk and it was very easy.
Yeah.
To talk to and stuff. But yeah, I was like going to be 8 o'clock.
We told him he could give long answers.
Yeah, and so around like 7:55, you have to kind of wrap this up. It's going to be 2 hours long. So, but he was very good and very nice about it too.
I approached him about doing it because I'm a big fan of Mouse Guard, and so in preparation for the interview, I had actually like reread Mouse Guard just so my questions were better informed.
Yeah, so I thought that was again I was just surprised how long it was going to go on for.
Yes.
But he was a good interview. I think he's
we even got an answer to a rare question.
What was that?
Yes.
Which part?
You said it was a rare question. What was the rare question?
Well, Trevor's one of the few people to ask him what happened to the fox cubs.
Yes.
In book 3.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So we got an answer.
All right. I forgot all that stuff. Okay. We also did.
If you want to know the answer, watch or listen to the interview.
Yes.
Which took place, if you're looking for it, on August 16th, 2023. So if you really want to go back and look at it, you can.
Yes.
We had 8 book clubs, which I think you were a part of at least 3 of them. Jen? Jen?
Sorry, I didn't hear anything after. It just kind of cut off.
Okay. We did 8 book clubs.
Mm-hmm.
And you were at least part of 3 of them, I believe. The Way of the House Husband, Friedens.
Rerun.
Freyrin.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I think was hers. Was that yours?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was mine.
And Scott Pilgrim. So, so we did Lock and Key, Vineland Saga.
Vinland Saga.
Okay, I want to make it Vineland, so that's where I typed. So it's Vinland. I knew that was going to be wrong whenever I did it. Stray Dogs, Made in Abyss, and Master Race, The Way of the House Husband,
Freyrin,
and Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
So does anybody have a favorite memorable book from the year?
Well, before I answer that, I will say I wish I had actually reread that first volume of Lock and Key.
Okay.
I was trying to go off of memory, and it made it more awkward.
Okay.
Other than that, I remember liking pretty much all of the books.
Okay.
Well, I already knew I liked Scott Pilgrim because it's Scott Pilgrim.
Right.
Is
there a book that you had not read that you were like, oh, wow, this is really good?
Yeah. Well, for sure, I remember liking Vinland Saga and Freyrin.
Okay.
Yes.
I like the concept of it.
Yeah.
How you know, it's after the hero's quest, and what happens after that. It's kind of interesting. So it was a very good one to bring up.
And then with Made in Abyss, it was interesting reading the first volume of that after watching the anime.
Right. What Paul said about rereading Lock and Key, I kind of wish I also did that with Stray Dog.
Okay.
just so that I would have been less awkward about it.
All right. Well, then we now know we should read whatever. And I guess we're having one coming up hopefully in January
Yeah.
of Bone.
Bone.
Yeah.
Have you been reading Bone, Jen?
A little bit, but not too far in.
Okay. Well, we'll have to set a date at some point and talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
We had.
So I thought Master Race was really interesting.
Yes. That's a story of, for Jen's sake and anybody else out there, it's a story of somebody that survived the Nazi concentration camps.
Yeah.
And I guess two people that survived it, and one of them was actually a victim.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was supposedly a very influential comic. It was relatively short.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
I think it was like 8 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was part of a kind of an anthology that came out, an anthology comic book, and it showed movement, and it was supposedly the artist like cut the lettering. They would give him the lettering, and he would draw to the lettering.
Yeah.
And so then he would like cut the lettering up so he could make his drawings be more dynamic and stuff.
Yeah. Also, like, what made it influential is the way he subdivided the panels.
Right. Yeah.
And on top of that, it was also just a really good story.
Yeah. It's kind of a little Twilight Zone-ish kind of story.
Yeah.
But so it was good. Yeah. So that was just, you had seen a video of somebody talking about how good that was.
Yeah.
And how influential it was. So we thought, well, we should at least look at it and see. So
The channel where I saw that video was Matt with 4 T's.
Right. And I tried to figure out if we could invite him to be on the show, and I could not figure out how to get a hold of him. So anyway, I'm sure he gets a lot of comments. Please be on my show. So there were 2 artist takeovers that we were not a part of, but you were, Jen. Did you enjoy those?
The first one I was struggling a little bit because I don't know. I felt I don't do drawings under pressure like that, so it's like, oh well, it's a nice attempt. The second one I had a little more freedom to just enjoy my drawing process, so that was fun for me. Yeah.
I think in the first one you started to draw. I think it was Jen, Jennifer, and you started out. I mean, you weren't able to complete the drawing, but it looked really good. To be honest with you, so
Yeah.
you do have to. It's just you're not used to drawing these characters.
Yeah, my drawing process takes a long time, so it's like I just take the time to do them. So, yeah. And I am continuing to like color it in and add more details to it. I just haven't finished a complete illustration, so for 2024.
Well, I think they're kind of. I mean, it's nice for us to be able to take time off occasionally if it comes up. One time we had a Friday, which was my wife's birthday, their mother's birthday, so they did. I think it was the year before, and Comic-Con. It's very hard for us to do a show, and so it's nice if to let other people drive it. And so I do appreciate the fact we can leave it in someone's hands to do.
Yeah. Well, thanks to Julia too, that she was able to figure out how to like set up the whole stream without losing the quality of both of or 3 and then 2 of our streams.
Yeah, I figure she knows more about that than we do. So I was figuring good hands.
I remember we weren't able to do something because of Metallica.
Right. Well, one of them was Comic-Con, and one of them was Metallica this year. So there were 2.
Mhm.
And was it just you and Julia, or did Rachel have anything to do with it this year?
The first one was the 3 of us with Rachel, and then the second one was just Julia and I.
Yeah. Did you like working with Rachel on that?
Yeah, it was fun to like chit chat with her for a bit when she doesn't seem to be available too much. So yeah.
Yeah, she's hard to get a hold of these days. But
Mhm.
we do work. She did some design work for us, for us this year. Designed the seal for
Mhm.
the school and came up with a diploma that we can eventually, sell on the market. No, I'm kidding. But for the community college, we figured we should have a diploma that you could get. And I'd like to try to do maybe a Kickstarter this year and maybe have that be one of the things you could get. Be a diploma.
Right.
Mhm.
So anyway, we also did, and Paul did these mostly, 5 taste tests.
Yeah.
One of which was holiday sodas. There was root beers, red sodas, Japanese drinks, and then multi-flavor, kind of a catch-up of all the.
Yeah.
There's a store,
There's a vintage soda place.
right, called Galco's. This is in Eagle Rock.
Yeah.
Sort of near. There's a college nearby. I can't think of the name of it.
I don't remember.
What?
I don't
Oh,
remember.
okay. It's kind of a liberal arts school nearby. But anyway, we had discovered them, I want to say, years ago.
Yeah.
And we hadn't been back in a while. And so we went sometime during the year in 2022, towards the end of the year, and bought a lot of sodas, and we tried them as part of the video.
Yes.
Right. And you sort of took charge of that.
Yeah.
So do you have any fun memories of?
I don't know. The Japanese drinks were probably the more interesting ones.
Yeah.
I feel like if we do any more of them, we need to. I was trying to figure out how to mix up the format a little, so it's not too samey as like some other people who do this stuff.
Okay.
Like when we were. I edited one a future one where we tried Mr. Beast Feastables bars, and I tried to edit that one a little differently.
Okay.
And give it like the I don't think I did a super good job of it, but I tried to mimic the trying to figure out the atmosphere of a Mr. Beast video.
Okay.
Or at least like the I can't figure out the word.
That's fine. That's right.
Mood.
The mood of a Mr. Beast video.
Yeah.
Okay. And we had, I'll say, 2 milestone for us this year. We made Julia the artist, and we announced that on January 11th.
Yeah.
And then we had the little competition for the colorist, and Jen won that, and we had the colorist reveal in June 21st. So I'm sure you felt really honored and to be named the colorist of Power Square.
Yeah, really excited.
Okay. So I thought I would at least I made a list of the top 10 as far as views go of videos. I'll say unaided, so we'll go into that again. But the most popular video we did was and you and Trevor sort of spearheaded this, was the iShield 21th anniversary, which was 71 people watched that, which is a lot for us.
Yeah.
So do you guys want to talk about how you got the idea for doing that?
iShield 21 is one of my favorite manga. We had recently, I guess, finally finished reading it.
Mm-hmm.
We finally found the time to do so.
Yeah. And we noticed it was also the 21st or the 21th. And you're right.
No, I just got a little cough.
We noticed it was the 21st or the 21st anniversary, so we figured we needed to actually capitalize on that. So we just talked about Ice Shield 21 for like an hour.
Yeah, and people seem to like it, so
Yeah.
that was.
So surprisingly, we were able to go off of memory for a lot of it.
Yeah, I think it's
was
because because reading the last few volumes, like the last 10 or so volumes, kind of reignited memories.
Okay.
It's a very memorable series.
Yes.
Have you read Ice Shield 21, Jen?
No.
Okay.
I've heard about it, but I know it's really popular with even with like in the libraries or in high schools that I've seen it. There's like it's still really like how do I say it? Like recognized for the type of story that it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it has the same writer from Dr. Stone and the same artist for One Punch Man.
Okay.
The remake One Punch Man.
Mhm.
The next two popular videos were both about Comic-Con.
Yeah.
One was SDCC Hall, which means the stuff that we brought back from Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And then SDCC, this going to it. So again, you sort of spearhead both of those videos.
Yeah.
This sort of sounds like it's kind of your channel. So, what do you want to talk about? What gave you the idea to do about? We've done a kind of a Comic-Con when we go to a con like that, and WonderCon as well.
Yeah, but it was taking a while for me to edit that video because I still using like a 10-year-old laptop.
Right. As we all are.
Yeah. So
I remember that made the Comic-Con, the main Comic-Con video like a nightmare to edit.
yeah, so the haul video was just sort of something I could very quickly edit and put up there while there was still Comic-Con was still relevant
In
ish.
people's minds, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we did sort of a wrap up of our experience at Comic-Con. Then there was the book club for Made in Abyss. It was number 4
Yes.
on our big hit list. 41 people watched that. That was a little before your time, but have you read Made in Abyss?
Me?
Yes. We've read it.
Not read, but I've watched the anime. The first season anyway, where it stopped. Yeah.
Okay. The interview we talked about with David Peterson, which I misspelled his name on this list. Very popular. That was the.
Well, you did spell it correctly earlier.
Yeah, and I think I corrected it on a version and it didn't. It's not what I saved because I remember it being that I had it spelled differently, E-N or O-N. It's E-N. That was our 5th most popular. Then you did a sort of retrospective about Metalocalypse.
Yes.
That was prior to seeing them. That was actually prior to seeing them play.
Yeah, that was before we finally got to see Death Clock live.
Right. So
Yes.
We talked about Metalocalypse because the Army
It
of the,
finally got the ending. It finally got an ending.
the Army of the Doomstar movie had finally come out, and so did Death Album 4. So we decided to talk about it for like algorithmic synergy.
yes, yeah, it's a popular choice.
Yes.
Stephen E. Gordon, next, and on the list. Then we do a on Free Comic Book Day. Jen, if you want to be a part of it next year, we go and get comic books, and Rachel does this as well in Philadelphia, and we talk about what did we get, what did we choose to read, and then we do a show about a couple of weeks about what we thought about what we did read. So we pick up, so we do a show about what's in my bag, which was popular. The what we read part wasn't as much, but that was kind of, so it's just sort of a what attracted us and why, and you'll have. I think we get so many books you can pick for free depending on where you go
Yeah.
and who does it. I think she got more books than we did, but it was kind of fun. Sometimes we had the same books, sometimes we didn't. So it's kind of So again, when that comes up, you're more than welcome to be on the show to do it.
Okay.
And then the let's try root beers and let's try 3 Japanese beverages were the 9 and 10 of the top 10
Yeah.
videos. Again, the taste test were fairly popular.
Yeah.
So we should do more of those. So that's kind of my list of, the books we put out and the videos that we did. Does anybody have anything they wanted to have a favorite of anything they did, or do you have a favorite show you were on, Jen, or anything like that? I'm not trying to put you on a spot. Just if you have something you want to say.
I definitely like the art, the art streams or art related streams more like, at least that we can get together and, draw a little bit of the comic, talk, chit chat, when we on normal lives we really can't. So it's nice to just have a place to do that. And then not the comic club, the book clubs, where it gives me an incentive to read something new, knowing that it's recommended with people that know that it's good. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we're looking forward to again having you back on the show next year, and I would like it if we could have you guys do more of the artists. We don't have to do anything for Friday, because I think it does give you kind of a chance to talk without us in the room. Which can be interesting. Right?
Yeah, just a bit of planning. I don't know what else we can do other than illustrate, so it's gonna have to be talked over to see what we can do.
Right. Well.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about trying to figure out. We're going to try to maybe schedule things out a little better next year than we did this year, and so maybe we can throw that into the mix and see if there's I know there's going to be Fridays that aren't going to work for us coming up next year. Again, Comic-Con hopefully, and there may be a wedding we have to go to. There will be opportunities for it to happen. So we'll see. All right.
Okay.
Anything you want to say, Trevor, about the past year?
I'm not sure.
Okay, that's fine. And Paul?
I think we kind of said it.
All right.
So if you're watching this on YouTube later and you like this, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and leave a comment below if you have any memories about this channel that you wanted to share.
So leave the 2023 or something. Yeah. All right, that's a comment. So until next time, I'm David Hankins.
I'm Paul Hankins.
I'm Trevor Hankins.
And Jen Moreno here.
And you've been on the air with Power Squared.